Good morning, everybody. My name's Nikki and I'm a registrar. I work at PICU here at Birmingham Children's Hospital, along with Adrian and the rest of my colleagues here. And I'd like to share with you the story of learning from excellence at BCH. So after Adrian's tweet back in January 2014, a pilot study started on PICU in April of 2014, where our staff were invited to report episodes of excellence that they'd observed in their everyday work. And that was via an intranet reporting form, very similar to the reporting form, the IR1 that we use for adverse incidents. And it got nicknamed the IR2 in a sort of slightly ironic way. And people are asked to just fill in a very brief information about which individual or team was excellent and what they did, and also to share some insight about, how we could develop excellence in that area. And then what happens is that the person who's been cited in the report receives an email, word for word, acknowledging what's been reported, and the reporter receives a thank you email as well. So just to give you an idea of the types of reports that we receive, the themes are very broad and represent a whole complex of clinical and non-clinical areas, but the most common themes that we've observed are knowledge and innovation, communication, teamwork and going the extra mile. And I'll just share with you some examples of actual reports now. So recently, a nurse received a report because she was noted to be using quite an innovative way to administer peritoneal dialysis at the bedside, and that really helped that patient. And actually that's gone on to inspire a new guideline in our department. This IR2 was actually submitted along with an IR1 when a medication error happened at the bedside. But the IR2 itself was about the nurse, the way that she communicated with the family really helped to maintain rapport and maintain trust with that family at a difficult time. And then this is just one example of the many examples of teamwork that we've received. Here, the theatre team were very short-staffed but still managed to provide excellent care for patients without cancelling any cases that day. So how do we learn from these reports? Well, myself, Adrian and Emily, we receive all the reports as they come through. We compile a weekly bulletin along with our safety team to share all the learning, what's been happening on the unit, and to encourage each other with the excellence that's happening every day. And this is just one example of a bulletin that we create. The other way that we try and learn from the reports, which Adrian alluded to, is to try and investigate some of them in more detail. Now you might be aware that with adverse incidents, we would sometimes complete a SIRI, which is a serious incident reporting investigation. But we didn't really find that type of style suited these investigations, and you'll see later that we use something that we've named an IRIS, and this came about from it being a reverse SIRI, and then we kind of came up with some words to fit the to fit the letters afterwards, which is improving resilience and inspiring success, and you'll get to see that demonstrated live later, which will be really fun. So how many reports have we had? Well, when I checked the database yesterday, it was 540 and counting, and we've even received some this morning as we woke up. And you can see that reporting frequency has increased over time, and we believe that we've not observed a plateau yet, that this is continuing to increase. And what you might notice is that whilst reporting in PICU has increased over time, you can see that reporting started to happen outside of PICU. And actually, back in November 14, this hadn't been rolled out formally in the trust. And we saw more of a viral spread phenomenon, or even a chain reaction. Because in PICU we work with all sorts of different teams around the trust, we would sometimes report those teams for excellence, and then those people that received reports thought, oh, okay, this is a really good idea. I could report something as well, and this is how it seems to have spread. We wanted to evaluate this. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial point because it's kind of hard to measure the impact of things sometimes. So we chose to evaluate the staff perception of what the impact of learning from excellence on PICU had been 12 months into the pilot. And really, the majority of staff felt that through learning from excellent episodes of care that we can help to improve patient care. So 87% agreed with that. But almost more importantly for me, people really felt that it enhanced morale and can help to really motivate and encourage people at work, which is really what we were looking for. The project is still developing. We've got a number of projects on the go. One you'll hear about later, the quality improvement initiatives that we're looking at to try and improve really measurable areas of patient care, for example, medication or ventilation-associated pneumonia. And my colleague Gabby will be sharing with us later about one of our projects. We'd also really like to see if we can include patients and families in this venture. And I've observed that often complaints from families do get a lot of attention and quite rightly so get looked into, but sometimes the thank yous and the really positive experiences just get taken for granted, and it would be really nice to explore those and to see what patients and families define as excellence and what they observe to be particularly excellent and how we can share that as a group. We are locally developing this, and we're in the process of developing and appointing departmental champions to help us with the flux of reports that we're receiving. So if there's anyone here today from a department that hasn't signed up, please let me know at the end and we'll volunteer you for the role. And more than that, we'd like to collaborate nationally, and this has inspired today's event. We'd really like to find out what's going on across the country in related areas and see if we can work as a wider group to develop this. And as we're going to hear this afternoon, there's loads of different ways that you can learn from excellence, and the BCH way is just one example. But if you want to know how we did it, in summary, I'd say that the things that we needed were just a really simple reporting tool, some admin support, and we're really grateful for our governance and safety teams for supporting us with processing reports and the infrastructure. You need a few enthusiastic and positive colleagues. You don't need many, but we're lucky on Picky to have loads of those, so that was lucky. And you do need a little time and energy to promote the project. And in terms of what I'd recommend to get started, I'd say just start reporting, and it'll grow from there. You know, we saw a real chain reaction when we started, and it's just, you know, a really positive movement. And be curious, try and explore, you know, why things happen, and don't just take excellence for granted. And then share your learning with everybody that you can. Thank you. Any questions?